Hey, we're back.
Yeah.
I'm not even hungover because I didn't even get drunk last night because I had to be on another show. I guess Zach is not here, but he said, I think he said he listened to it.
I thought B's Nest name was Keith Libby.
I thought that's what the message said that I got.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent it to Keith Libby.
I hope it's the same one.
It may not be the same guy. He said Lou. I don't know.
It says, Tom, what's your Facebook name? You're just Thomas
Ross.
Ross.
You can see me? Yeah, right there.
He not hiding.
Yeah.
He not hiding. He has the regular. And mine's my regular name too. So you know. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a... Oh, Louis said, I heard your show, Jenny. It was real good. Oh, thanks. I was super nervous. I really don't like doing live radio. But, you know, at least they couldn't see me.
I don't know why more people listening to our streams than listen to fucking live radio.
I guess,
live radio's dead as shit now.
Well, the thing about it is that whenever I do a show like that, it's usually about... I'm usually talking about Faceless Villain. Yeah. And so I'm always kind of afraid that I'm going to forget, like, all the details. Because I always have to, like, take these copious notes from my book and read shit out of it and everything like that. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. So for some reason, that's a lot more nerve-wracking than this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because here it's like we have the same people listening, so they're a lot more forgiving if I fuck something up. That one I just kind of feel like it wasn't bad though. And like I said, it was kind of like I only had to talk in like 20-minute chunks because they did like, you know, news and commercials and all this other kind of stuff. So it was kind of like I didn't feel too bad about it. But yeah, I think Zach told me he listened to it as well. I still can't believe we did a 4-hour show. And then I did another 2-hour show, like later on. Man, I was so tired.
He says that is him, but he doesn't see a message. Dude, I sent it right here.
Maybe it's in that thing where, because there's messages, and then if you're not friends with that person, then it sends it to this other folder, like message requests.
No,
or something.
actually, we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Maybe you just don't know how it works. Okay.
Yeah, you know how it works. You know how it works.
Maybe no one knows how it works.
Yeah.
Facebook is not working.
Yeah. I just sent you another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But holy crap, you guys, I woke up, well, it didn't wake you up, I don't know how, but, because you know how yesterday we were talking about we had all the tornado warnings and shit?
Yeah.
Last night it was like, I think it was 5-something in the morning, and I woke up and it was just this horrible, horrible storm. And I was
slept
just,
right through it. I didn't know.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, holy shit, man, I thought like the fucking roof was going to blow off. And then it kind of passed over, and I was like, okay, fine. And, like, I got up to go to the bathroom or whatever. And I got back in bed, and little Pookie was laying there with her big old eyes going, oh, shit. And then I woke up again at, like, 6:30, and it was doing it again, like, worse than the first time. I mean, the rain was, like, fucking horizontal, like, against the windows, and it was like, whoosh. Yeah. And, like, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, oh, man, this better not be a tornado. Better not be a tornado. I kept listening for a sound like a freight train, because that's what they always say, you know? How you hear when a fucking tornado is coming.
I'm gonna have to get Keith fucking settled here, man, so he can drive me nuts. Sent you a message, bro.
Lots of... Louis said the Atlanta Ripper segment was real good. Thank you very much. Yeah, I talked about Atlanta Ripper. I talked about Horror in Room 1046. I talked about the Frog Boys.
See, look, I sent that to you. Look. There's your little shit.
There's your little shit.
See it?
I can't see it. It's blurry.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can go
What
back.
What are you even doing? What are you even doing?
Hold on. I'm showing the profile.
Showing the profile.
That's the profile. All right. If that's not you, then that's the fake you. Okay. It's on Messenger.
You guys need to sort this shit out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 13 o'clock Facebook page, generally, I answer that. Because that's an offshoot of that's one of my pages. An offshoot of my group. I have so many fucking pages. I have 13 o'clock one. I have a Faceless Villain one. I have a author one. I have, what else? I think I have one for my games. I don't even remember. I have a bunch I don't even use anymore, too.
He's probably got me muted.
Ooh, I don't want messages from that guy.
Yeah, how much I bet you got me muted or some shit.
Oh my
But
god.
he's not muted or anything. If I can, he's just right there.
Okay, so Beastnest says, okay, that's my old account.
Yeah.
Be right back. It's in my other phone. Okay. You guys will get this sorted out. Can we talk about Oculus now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so this is usually a little bit older movie than we would normally do on Matinee, but one of our lovely people sent us a Blu-ray of it, and I was very excited about it. I had seen it like a few years ago. Obviously directed by Mike Flanagan, who, very famously did Dr. Sleep, like you know. He did Gerald's Game, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor. This is actually his second full-length feature film. First one being Absentia, which actually, if you haven't seen that is also very good. It is like micro budget, but it just goes to show what somebody as talented as Mike Flanagan can do with nothing money. Absentia is actually on Tubi for free.
Okay.
Oculus might be as well. I'm not real sure, but I know for sure that Absentia is on there because I just saw it like 5 minutes ago. And I would recommend that as well. So if you're really into Mike Flanagan stuff, you can kind of see. He had made some short films prior to that one, but you can really see like the emergence of like this great fucking talent coming out. And so then Oculus was his second one. Now, Oculus was like, it was based on a short film that he had made. And they were talking about, maybe doing a full length. But I think that when the production company kind of was going to give him the money to do it, they said, we'll give you the money to do it if you make it found footage. And he, to his credit, said, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
So then finally he talked them into like not doing it found footage. And I think that's really, really good because actually this movie, you had never seen this.
No. It was a good movie though. I liked it.
I mean, like I said, you can really tell.
It had a slow start, but once it started rolling, I was like going, yeah, this is pretty good. The ending was fucked up. And I didn't really think it was that satisfying. It's not kind of the ending I'd put on it, but I respect his choice. I mean, that was his choice of how he's going to end that movie.
Well, it was kind of a bleak ass ending.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I kind of like that about it, though.
I kind of would have had him win against the Mirror, but no, they lose. Just saying, don't really spoil anything.
Well, this came out in 2013.
Yeah,
But see,
they lost against the
Mirror.
Mirror.
To me makes it scarier because the Mirror, all through the whole entire. I mean, if you guys have not seen Oculus, obviously, it's about a haunted or a cursed mirror. I like another thing too. I like that he doesn't really explain how the mirror got that way or why it's evil, how it's able to manipulate people's realities and their thoughts and their behavior and stuff. And he deliberately left it like that. He said, I'm really into like Lovecrafty and shit where it's just like evil and it's not explained. It's just, here's an evil thing. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
But the thing about the mirror, the Lasser glass, is that it just is, and it does these horrible things, and you can't win against it. I think that was what made this movie so scary for me, was that the Kaylee character, when in the present, because like I said, this kind of runs parallel present and past, like them as kids and them as adults. And her whole thing is, I want to kill this mirror. And she's obviously spent years researching the history of it, and she kind of has this whole elaborate thing set up to destroy it. And she's not dumb about it. Like, she's obviously put a lot of thought into it. She's rigged up, like, all these traps and all this cameras and stuff. But the fact that she is really smart about it and did put all this time into it, into destroying it, but it was still too smart for her. It was still too evil for her. She couldn't defeat it. You know what I mean? So to me, that made it, like, a lot scarier. Because if you could just, like, bust it at the end, it would just be, like, not as scary, I don't think. But I think that makes it a lot scarier because it was just kind of like this fucking... And I think that is probably my favorite part of this movie. I really, really like horror movies that kind of fuck with your sense of reality. And I like that the mirror, that's kind of its superpower. You know what I mean? And it's like, so the movie, it's like real disorienting because you never know if what the mirror is showing you is what's really happening. And the mirror can make you think that you're doing one thing when actually you're doing something else. It's like, hey, I went outside and I called the police on my cell phone, but it was like someone else's voice. Or it's like, I didn't really go out there and call. Really, I was standing here in front of the mirror. And it's like, that to me is like a really, really cool concept. You know what I mean? And I also really like the ghosts in this. Like, I thought they were, because I feel like he does kind of like a similar look, because I guess, you know, the Ghosts in Haunting of Hill House looked a little bit like this as well. But I liked in this one the eyes of all the ghosts were like reflective, like mirror, you know, like mirrors in their eyeballs. And I thought that was like really, really creepy. And just, I don't know, it's just such a great idea. And I just really, really like the way it was done. And there wasn't a lot of, it wasn't super gory, but then some of the gore was real like skin crawly. Like, you know what I mean? Like when he was putting the that staple remover thing like into his fucking fingernail and shit like that, and like when she was eating the light bulb, like thinking it was the apple and stuff like that. So it just kind of goes to show that you don't have to have like, all this over the top gore to just kind of like creep people out. And you know, it's just really well done, and I think that you can really see a lot of the traits that have made Mike Flanagan so well regarded in the horror genre. I mean, pretty much fully formed right here in this movie. And even in Absentia, which is like his first one. And somebody mentioned Hush earlier too, which was the one that came out, I think, right after this. If you actually, Hush, you would probably really like. It's kind of like a survival. I mean, it's a very simple setup. It's like a deaf woman and she's out at a cabin, like writing a novel or something. And like this dude starts stalking her and it's like this cat and mouse kind of game. That is also very, very good. Like a really, really tense, you know, survival horror kind of movie, and that's also really good. And I think after that he made Before I Wake, which was really good. That was the one about, I think we watched that together a while back. I think that was the one about the kid whose dreams kind of manifested like in reality. Like he would dream about butterflies and like his parents would see them, like the parents that adopted him. I think it's on Netflix now that I'm thinking about it. And like I said, he also did Gerald's Game, Stephen King adaptation, a really, really good Stephen King adaptation, which I think is why he ended up doing Dr. Sleep. But yeah, I mean, this is just a great fucking movie, and just real creepy. Like the imagery is real creepy. Just a really great concept of this mirror making you think that you're doing things that you're not doing.
It's a mind control mirror.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's really freaky because you never know.
And it's haunted.
You never know what is actually happening. Even at the end, you don't really know what's actually happening, because you could read this movie in a way, because, you know, when the brother, Tim, he gets out of, because he ended up shooting his dad, and there was this whole thing, like back when they were kids. When he gets out of the psychiatric hospital, he's kind of been, you know, he's been through therapy, and the therapist has been able to convince him, you know, the mirror didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like the mirror is not supernatural. You just saw it that way because of the trauma and everything. So he's really bought into that. And the sister, who has been out this whole time and has been researching how she's going to destroy this mirror so it doesn't fuck up someone else's life the way it fucked up her family's life. And she's like, this mirror is fucking haunted and we need to do something about it. So there's like this really great conflict between the two of them. And the great thing about it is that for a long time, you're not really sure if she maybe is crazy, if maybe there's nothing wrong with the mirror, that maybe she is delusional about it and he's actually in the right. Like he actually went through therapy and he figured everything out. And he's like, no, we just misperceived things because we were kids and it was really traumatic. And so we just invented this whole story. So, you know, so I really like that they kind of played off that conflict. And for a long time, like she has all this shit set up about the mirror. And like at first, like nothing happens. She's like, watch, the plants are going to die. And then they don't. And all this other kind of stuff. So you're like, maybe she is nuts. Maybe she is remembering it wrong. But then shit starts going crazy. But the thing about it is that you could watch the movie as the mirror is obviously haunted and cursed. Or you could read it as they're both delusional and they're both seeing, that's the way they're both seeing things, and it works either way.
Yeah, but that's not what it is, though. The mirror is haunted.
Well, I think it is too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you could read it as them just being delusional, and and it totally works as well.
She did all that research about the history of the mirror and had photographic evidence of everything that happened around that damn thing. And no, that was statistically totally improbable of everything that happened around
Yeah.
here. So no, it was bad. It was a fucking haunted mirror.
And like I
Used
said,
mind control to kill you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they didn't really.
Kind of like the Overlook. You used mind control and manipulation to get you to kill people, and then they were absorbed into the mirror, a bunch of ghosts, and then come back out.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it. That it was just kind of like, because every time someone died by the mirror's, machinations or whatever, they kind of became joined in with it, because at some points you see like all the people that died over the course of the history of the mirror, which had been around since like 1750, although I think she says they don't have any record of it prior to that. So I really like that its origins are like kind of shrouded in mystery, like you don't know where it came from. And like I said, Mike Flanagan said that that's what he liked, that because it just kind of came out of nowhere. It didn't have an origin. You don't know where it came from. You don't know why it does that. It's just bad, and it does. But
she did dig up photographic evidence of victims and people who had been killed in fucking weird ass ways. Woman fucking pounded herself to death with a hammer.
That's right, yeah.
And you know what I mean. And that near that mirror, and it just that didn't happen. That stuff like that doesn't happen for normal reasons. You know what I mean. So it was paranormal. She had photographic evidence.
Yeah.
She didn't invent that evidence. So no, you could read it either way, but that's not what it was. It was that shit was too improbable.
Well, yeah, and the thing about it is that when you're watching a horror movie that has like a supernatural thing to it, it's kind of obviously a lot more fun to be like, yeah, this shit's haunted, and it's like supernatural, other than, no, they're just crazy people. But I'm just saying you could read it either way, and it works either way. Louis said, I think Hush is on Netflix. It was. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw it. And I think some of other Mike Flanagan's other stuff is on there too. I think Before I Wake might be on there, and obviously Gerald's Game is on there. I don't know about his other movies. Like I said, Absentia is on Tubi, I'm pretty sure. Oculus might be on Tubi too, if somebody wants to check. I'm not real sure. Like I said, we got the Blu-ray that one of our lovely peeps sent us, so that's how we watched it. But let's see. Terry says, Tom and Jenny, did you like 1974's The Town That Dreaded Sundown?
Yeah.
I actually do really like that movie, based on the Phantom Killer case. Although there's a lot of stuff that happens in that movie that didn't happen in real life. It's pretty close to what really happened, but like the whole thing about the girl getting killed by... Wasn't there the girl that got killed by like having like a trombone or something?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, that didn't happen. She didn't... I mean, she did die, but she didn't die like that. That was made by... Charles B. Pierce, the same guy that made the Boggy Creek movies.
Yeah.
And he was in it too.
Short shorts.
Oh my God. Yeah. So Charles B. Pierce, he was in The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I think he was one of the, Keystone Cops. That was the only thing that I would have not done in that movie, was like made the funny comic relief cops. I think it really kind of undercut the creepiness of the rest of the movie.
Well, he did that because of all the damn Ed Wood movies had that.
Yeah.
That's why he did that.
I mean, he
thought it was supposed to have comedic relief.
I guess.
Ed Wood had it, so of course we got to have it. What the fuck?
Because the movie's so scary that you have to like put some funny in there so people will, so it can be like a relief or whatever.
That's what he thought. But I think that was kind of the traditions of the time.
I mean, you could have incompetent cops, but it just seemed like the cops were just like a fucking vaudeville act. Yeah. It was a little over the top.
Well, that's the way they were in the 50s.
Yeah,
and that's why he put that in there.
Charles B. Pierce, okay, now I will say the first Boggy Creek was a pretty decent flick.
Yeah.
The second or third one that was on Mystery Science Theater, Boggy Creek, even though it's called Boggy Creek 2 and The Legend Continues, although I think it's actually the third Boggy Creek movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That one was atrocious, but it's hilarious to watch.
Which is the one that has the legendary dude sitting on the porch goes, yeah, that's my kind of woman.
Yeah, that's Boggy Creek 2 and The Legend Continues. That was, we saw that on MS.
He was in 2 and 3?
No.
Okay.
I think there was a Boggy Creek 2, but it was a completely different movie.
Okay.
And then I guess because nobody saw that one, he's like, well, I'm going to make another Boggy Creek movie, but I'm going to call this one Boggy Creek 2 as well, even though it's the third one.
So
I don't think I ever saw the second.
The one with the hillbilly was actually the third movie?
I think so, if I'm remembering correctly. The one that's called And the Legend Continues, I'm pretty sure that's the third one, even though it's called Boggy Creek 2.
That dude was the only good thing in that movie. He was fucking hilarious.
That dude's name was Jimmy Clem.
Jimmy Clem.
Jimmy Clem.
Yeah.
I remember because, I've seen that episode of MST so many times. I mean, just the whole thing about Charles B. Pierce being a professor in it. Yeah. And he just has this fucking funny... He's so condescending. Yeah. And he's just so... he just has these little shorts and his little kind of butt pooches out.
Yeah, yeah.
And his little stomach is pooching out.
Yeah, and he's trying to...
Oh my
with
God.
some kind of hat on. He's trying to be like something out of Smokey and the Bandit.
Or something.
Something like that.
Oh, and his real life son is in it too.
Trying to make him a movie star.
And his real life son is this really, really skinny blonde kid. And he just is shirtless throughout pretty much the entire...
Makes him run around without a shirt on.
Which is so fun. Like when there's no reason for him to be running around without a shirt on. He just has the shirt over his shoulder.
It was weird shit, man.
And then there's two kind of 80s style hot chicks and they're going out and camping in the woods.
Well, he's got to surround himself with these 80s styles hot chicks. Him and his son out camping with him. Him teaching them science.
Yeah. Boggy Creek science.
Yeah. It's fucking Bigfoot science.
I know.
It's
so fucking funny.
The girls were cute though.
They were, yeah.
And it was just like your typical blonde and then your typical brunette.
Well, no, they were both brunettes.
They were okay, yeah. But they had the feathered hair and the fucking dreamcatcher necklaces and fucking
looking like
feathers
a chick
and
from
shit.
Quarter Flash or whatever.
Like shit from Quarter Flash, yeah.
I mean, but so the whole part where they go down the fucking... Because it's set in Arkansas, because that's where that dude is from.
Yeah.
And the whole part where they go down the fucking river and go to Crenshaw, that's the name of the character, the big fat hillbilly.
Yeah.
Should
have just named him Jimmy Clem.
I know, because that's a perfect name, right? Yeah. Or just Clem, they could have just called him that. But, because he totally looks like a Clem. But he's, so he has no shirt. He just has overalls, but the overalls, he only has one of the things buckled. So it's just hang, so you get some, nice man tit there. It's very, very attractive. And he has, this big, yucky beard, and he's always, chewing tobacco and spitting and stuff. But he's just, I wonder if that's what he really talks like, or if they just kind of, they were redneck it up.
Yeah.
Or if he's really like that.
Maybe he was kind of like that.
I think he might have been. I got the sense that he wasn't really acting.
I think he was hired because that's the way he was.
That's a man's kind of woman.
But yes, a man's kind of woman. And
the little one looks just like the big one.
Yeah. He was funny.
I loved that guy.
And then he had to dirty himself up.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was his costume.
Yeah.
He just put some dirt on himself. Every fucking...
And he had a rubber band around his head.
Yeah.
For no reason.
If you live in a shack, then you're going to have some dirt on you.
Yeah.
And the camera's going to see it. It's not how it's going to work out, but you know what I mean? It's just funny. Fucking funny.
I mean, if you're going to watch it, I would recommend watching the Mystery Science Theater episode. Yeah, because holy shit, they make such good... I mean, I really, really like my favorite Mystery Science Theater episodes. I know they did a lot of 50s monster movies, and a lot of people like those. But I'm really, really into the 70s and 80s movies, and especially ones that have redneck characters.
Yeah.
Because this one, Boggy Creek 2, and the Giant Spider Invasion, which was set in Wisconsin. That was a good one too. Yeah. Those were fucking hysterical. All the shit that they made jokes about.
The best one, though, was the Riff Tracks version of fucking Manos Hands of Fate. And Birdemic.
And those, I think you can watch those on Tubi, actually. I know you can... The Riff Tracks Live of Birdemic, I know, is on there. I don't know if Manos is on there.
Both of them.
We saw that in the theater when they first did it.
Solar panels.
That dude that made Birdemic.
Solar panels.
He's made a bunch of other movies. What's that dude's name? James Nyan, or I can't remember what his name is. But
that's the Filipino guy, right?
Yeah, or Vietnamese
guy.
I can't remember where he's from.
But he doesn't know how people date. He thinks white people just date by sitting on each other's laps. If you sit on somebody's lap, then you're dating. It's just the weirdest shit. And from in his opinion, you meet girls by seeing them on the street and following them home and knocking on their door.
Right. I'm like, do that in real life. See how that works out.
Watch what happens. You can get your shit shot off. You had no idea.
And rightly so.
Yeah. And then as soon as you meet the girl, she's going to sit on your lap.
That scene...
Facing you.
Because, okay, the one that we saw... Because Riff Tracks has done a bunch of his movies. Because they're kind of like the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it was. But I think
he just saw people date. And he saw white people date when he was growing up. And that's what stuck out to him. Is that they sit on your lap.
Or he just saw something in a movie that he got
that over
into.
and over again.
I mean, they're so weird.
And you just see her, so you follow her all the way home, 2 or 3 miles home, and then knock on her door and says, I saw you on the street 2 or 3 miles
And she's
back.
like, oh, okay, come in.
And, I just think you're beautiful, and can I come in? That's what he did. That's what he did.
I couldn't believe it.
Fuck, that's how serial killers try it.
I know.
Damn.
I know, I'd be like, I'm calling the police right now, so you might want to answer.
But it's not how it's done in the West.
It's just like, I feel like, because that guy and Tommy Wiseau, the guy that made The Room, I think people love those movies so much just because the people that made them obviously just have no idea how real people talk to one another or act with one another. So it's almost kind of like, it's the closest thing that we'll ever get to what it would be like watching an alien that made a movie about people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't have any insight into what people are really like or what they're really thinking. So I think that's why people really, just because some of the decisions that he made are just so bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he doesn't know how people works. He doesn't know how people works. He doesn't know how cultures work.
It's just so
the idea that you date somebody because you know that person, that you have friends in common. You know what I mean? That I guess that was an alien concept to him.
And that's kind of like a creepy, dangerous, because I've known some dudes that probably thought that that's how it worked. Like, I just see a hot chick walking down the street,
follow her home,
and I think she's hot, so that means, ergo, that means I can date her, so I have to, because, who cares what she wants?
Yeah, who cares if she's got a boyfriend or fucking looking at some other dude, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like funny. It's
like, I think she's beautiful, therefore she owes me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that type of thing. And it's weird because it doesn't come across that sinister in his movies, but it just comes across as more just completely clueless.
Clueless to how shit works, yeah.
Yeah. It's super, super weird. And all of his female characters are all models.
That's the character. The character is a model.
Yeah. Because isn't one like a Victoria's Secret model?
Yeah.
Was that Birdemic or maybe that was the other one?
I don't remember. But
he did a weird sci-fi one too that had like the worst special effects of all time.
Yeah. I guess he just kept seeing fucking model white girls, and he goes, "Yeah, it's gonna be in my movie. Models."
Yeah, everybody's
likes
a model.
Models.
You're either a model.
You're either a model or I don't like you, or I'm not interested. You're either a model or you're not hot.
You're either a model or you sell solar panels.
Yeah, he sells. That's right. There's nothing in between.
And he has a really strange, because his other movies have this too. He has a really strange fascination with, like, corporate culture.
Yeah.
So right. he thinks
everything is happening in a boardroom.
Yeah, and he's like really into. I mean, you can tell that he really, really thinks this shit is super riveting.
Yeah.
Even though nobody else on Earth literally thinks.
Well, that's kind of the way it was in the damn Godzilla movie. All the important shit was happening in some kind of meeting room in between the government and the military and the scientists.
I feel
the
like
whole movie happened there. And there were cute girls in that bunch.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't happen.
So many 50s horror movies. It's like, people remember them for the iconic moments. Like, oh, look, it's the giant spider. Or, oh, look, it's like the big radioactive turkey or whatever the fuck it is. But it seems like that, if you put all those scenes together, it would be like literally less than 5 minutes of the movie. The rest of it was white dudes standing around in rooms talking about the problem.
And talking to each other on the phone.
That too.
A lot of that. Calling some other motherfucker on the phone.
Yeah.
One office to another.
Yeah.
That the world runs in these offices. And then you got to have it down a board meeting to talk about the problem.
Yeah.
And talking about the problem solves it somehow.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean...
Isn't that funny?
I just feel like every 50s monster movie I've ever seen is 95% dudes in lab coats talking to each other in an office.
Yeah, and they're explaining to you and to each other how everything works.
Oracle says, and women screaming and trying to run away. That too.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a little bit of that.
Or women just standing there with something creeping up behind them, touches them on the shoulder, like a big spider leg comes down.
My favorite thing.
And they turn around and scream. Ah.
My favorite thing, and this was in a lot of horror movies, even into the 80s, where you get like monster or killer or whatever running at the female victim, and she just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
You saw that a lot in Giallo movies. Like the killer would bust in the door, and the door is like way the fuck over there, like in that. And I get you're scared, I get it. Some people freeze and stuff, but like seriously, girl. It's like she's just kind of backing against the wall. I'm like, look, there's a door over there. There's a door. It's like, get a weapon. Do something. Yeah. It's like, don't just stand there. It's like, oh, no, here he comes very, very slowly. And I'm soon going to be murdered.
Or the man and woman are running from the villain. The villain grabs the man. They start fighting. And the woman stands there and just watches the fight happen, screams.
She's like, huh,
she didn't even help.
We were thinking...
Don't even get the gun. Get the gun.
I know.
Hand me the knife. None of that shit. She just stands there and screams.
Bitch, do something.
Yeah.
we were laughing about that because we've been rewatching the Logan's Run TV series.
Yeah.
And there was
a lot of that.
There was a lot of that in there. There's like the one part where Logan and he was fighting with, who was he fighting with? Francis, I guess.
Yeah.
Him and Francis were
Guns
fighting.
right there on the ground.
And Jessica is just kind of standing there going, huh.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing a goddamn thing.
Get him, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you could help. Why don't you like jump on his head or something?
Yeah.
I mean, something. Kick him in
the
balls.
Kick this bitch in the face.
Something.
Yeah.
Punch his balls. Just help me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two of us.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
It wasn't feminine to get involved in a fight, even though your destiny hung in the balance between who won. Well, I'll leave it up to these men to fight it out.
Fuck that. I'm getting in there. I'm mixing up with that shit.
Yeah. At least hand the dude a gun.
I know. At least do something to help. You can't just like stand there being useless.
Yeah, she just stand there.
It was so funny.
She's
like, I don't want to mess up my hair.
That was 70s television, but I think it was just kind of a cultural holdover from 50s horror movies, I think. And probably even before, going back to the 20s and the 30s.
Yeah.
Where a woman was just tied to the tracks screaming.
Yeah.
Tried to tie her up to the train tracks and she just scream, and that's her role in the movie.
Yeah, they wouldn't even really try to, like, do anything to free themselves.
Yeah, wouldn't even try to roll off the tracks.
They're just like, oh, well.
Yeah, well, he put me on the train tracks.
I guess there's nothing I can do about it until some dude comes and saves me.
Yeah.
Because I'm completely helpless.
No, it was theater.
Yeah,
theater,
I know.
It wasn't supposed to...
It's just it wouldn't fly nowadays, obviously. Because everybody would be like, bitch, why are you just standing there?
Well, it was like little kids playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't... Her just being on the tracks was supposed to scare you. You knew you didn't really want her off the tracks, and then the fucking story would be over.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like we want to kind of see.
We have to let this guy come and save her.
Yeah.
You know, it was all hokey shit.
It is hokey shit. Yeah. I was reminded of it again because when we were watching Logan's Run, and I just thought it was funny that she was just kind of standing there watching him fight and going, huh. Look at him go.
The Logan's Run series was actually, the television series was a lot better than I remembered it. It's written, a lot of the writers were the same writers from Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah, I mean, William F. Nolan did a lot of the, because he's kind of big in the sci-fi genre.
It does have some tired tropes, like they're redoing Most Dangerous Game, and they're doing things like with illusions, you know what I mean? Like aliens that can control what you see. But and it's all pretty telegraphed, you know what I mean? You know what trick they're playing on you. So, but I guess that was just the way television was back then. You know what I mean? You were kind of in on the joke if you were watching it. Other than that, production values were okay. It's kind of fun to watch.
It's kind of like just a relaxing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who's that?
Nobody.
Okay, it wasn't my appointment, was it?
No, it was a 904 number.
Okay.
That's Jacksonville.
All right. So, yeah, it's just kind of fun to go back and watch some of that old television. You can really see the beginnings of Star Trek: The Next Generation, because the android Rem is definitely the inspiration for Data.
Yeah.
Like that's Data. It's that same damn character almost.
Pretty much.
You know, now by the time, you know, and really, when in the big picture, it was only a few years later that Next Generation started to come out. You had Logan's Run, the television series. It had a lot of the guys that were behind Star Trek, the original series. But then Star Wars came out, and the fucking bottom fell out of fucking Logan's Run. That wasn't cool anymore. So the whole, they got rid of fucking the Logan's Run television series, and they actually started fucking coming up with something called Star Trek Phase 2, which they were going to bring Star Trek back. But it got rebooted into the first movie, Star Trek the Motion Picture. And a lot of the cast that was going to be in Star Trek Phase 2 and a lot of the writers ended up being in the movie of the motion picture. But then that cast basically got taken out because they wanted to get the original cast back into the movies. But a lot of the shit that they were doing behind the scenes with the sets and the story writing and getting the guys together for Star Trek Phase 2 and to a certain extent motion picture, they were starting to work on, they knew they wanted to bring the television series back, and they were already working on things. I saw the sets and the designs. Man, it looked a lot like Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah.
So they were coming up with it way back in the late 70s. You know what I mean? Next Generation. You never really saw Next Generation, did you?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
The first couple seasons were hit and miss. But by the time season 3 was around, it was pretty solid. It got better as it went.
Yeah. Oracle said, I'd kind of like to see a reboot of the Logan's Run TV series, but I think you'd have to have them find Sanctuary at the end of season 1, and then the next season is about how Sanctuary isn't what they thought it was.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. I would watch that.
Yeah.
And Pat asked where you could find the Logan's Run series. We actually bought it on DVD. I think it's on DVD, right?
I got it on DVD.
It's not even on Blu-ray.
It's 3 DVDs in a set.
It's kind of hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
It's a little obscure.
It's obscure, and it's real good quality. The first episode is the pilot, and it's about 2 hours long, and it's really like the best one. And it shows a lot of clips from inside the City of Domes, and it sets it up pretty well. We just went on to disc 2 again, and we're just starting to get into it. It did have some pretty good concepts, and it did kind of break some molds. Like, there's one episode where they find a place that they think is sanctuary, but it turns out it's everything that they want seems to happen, and their robot Rem is like, or the android Rem is like, he ends up in there and he's going like, no, this is all an illusion. I guess it's kind of like a holodeck. He could see it, that it's an illusion. And it turns out that really where they are is they're in an alien spacecraft that can kind of make illusions. And inside that spacecraft, this spacecraft is going around collecting male and female pairs or 2 pairs of all these aliens from all these different planets. Try to find their weaknesses so they can come back and invade them. And it's pretty cool. Fucking Rem tries to lie his way through it, tell him that he's a human, that he's not an android, and that humans are inferior to him, and that he's the dominant species. It's pretty cool. But what kind of broke the trope is that a lot of the aliens on the ship were in these cells. They were pretty ugly. But it turns out they were the good guys. They were all like good people. The aliens that are trying to capture everybody all look like pretty people, but they're illusions too. So it was kind of don't judge a book by its cover.
And fun fact, the female alien, the pretty one,
yeah,
that was the same woman that was in Giant Spider Invasion.
Yeah.
That played the disgusting dude's wife. Also, can we talk about in the pilot? I think that they told them not to do this afterward because I think only in the pilot they did it. Every time they said robot, they said robot.
Robot, yeah. It's a robot. Like they didn't know how to say the word robot.
And we just kept... Well, like I said, it's really funny because I saw some sci-fi from the 50s and 60s where they said robot. They put the emphasis on the second syllable, which I thought was a little strange. But in this one, in the pilot, everybody was saying robots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did she just say robot?
Yeah, she said robot.
So we just ran with it.
It's a robot.
I know, we just ran with it the whole entire thing.
And then they're influencing each other to say robot.
Robot jokes.
I guess it wasn't a common word in California at that time.
So fucking funny. I was like, robots? Oh my god.
Now, what was good about the series, though, is that you find out that they borrowed some stuff from the books, evidently. Turns out not everybody fucking died at 30. Some people cheated. And there was a secret council in charge of the city. They were all people in their 50s and 60s.
Oh, a bunch of old fucks.
Yeah. And they were making deals with people.
Running the shit.
That if they fucking did special shit, that fucking they could be in part of the council and live longer. And then they're like, yeah, but you're killing all these people. And I'm like, yeah, but we have to. It's an enclosed system.
Meh.
And it's an enclosed system, and we can't have overpopulation, and we can't have people fucking and breeding like rabbits in here, or we'll all starve. So that was kind of the idea of what was going on. But it was pretty. So far, seen it again. I liked it the first time I saw the series. Seen it again, I kind of see how experimental it was. It has shitty props, you know what I mean? But they weren't shitty compared to Star Trek: The Original Series.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you can tell some of them were toys they bought somewhere and changed up a little bit.
The interior decorations and designs of the places, the sets, and the locations they used were good. Cute girls in fucking skimpy outfits, pretty much through the whole thing.
Well, everybody's like, sign me up.
Yeah, everything looks like some kind of fucking 1970s swinger motel. Everything.
I'm pretty sure some of those sets were actually 70s swingers motels.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
At least that one where they were in the mud baths or whatever.
Yeah, that looked like swinger hotels.
I'm pretty sure that's what that was.
Looked like love motels.
It did.
Fucking chandeliers and fucking weird shit. And fucking
two side-by-side tubs.
Yeah.
With like the fucking shag carpeting.
Shag carpeting. It's an fake fucking stone walls inside the interiors with fake fucking waterfalls and shit happening inside the underground base with chandeliers hanging and 70 chandeliers and shag carpets and robot servant girls and shit. Fucking, yeah. And the robot servant girl's name was Siri.
That's right.
Yeah. So somebody saw that.
And I was kind of like, I wonder if that's where they got the idea
it was.
For actual Siri.
Yeah, it was.
We were kind of wondering about that. Yeah. I was like, "Ooh, that'd be a deep cut if whoever came up with the concept for Siri."
You could probably get the set if you can't stream it. You could probably get that set for about $20.
Oracle said you could pay and watch it on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Or Vudu.
Yeah, it's worth it. Depending on how much they want for it,
Yeah, I mean, if you like the movie, the original movie, or if you liked the book, you would probably be into it. Like I said, it's it's got some 70s cheesiness to it, but it's kind of fun and comforting.
Yeah, so did the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the same tone as the movie.